Good evening, and welcome to the school committee meeting of Monday, September 28th, 6:30 p.m. We'll start with the acceptance of the minutes.
Motion to accept the minutes?
For the meeting of September 14th, 2020.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nothing under communications. Will go to Dr. Cron with the superintendent's report.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Sorry.
That's all right.
That
No
was a quick
problem.
pass.
No problem. Today was the first day of in-person learning for the districts. It was a very exciting day. Started the day on a school bus, which was a lot of fun, with some younger kids and some older kids. And just want to say thank you to the bus drivers. Thank you to Jane for all the work that you've done. But thank you to the bus drivers who ride the bus every day with our kids. It's a hectic situation to be in, and I need to spend time doing those things on a regular basis because it really reminded me of how hard those folks work every day and how patient they are and how kind they are with our families and our kids. So that was a lot of fun for me, and but it was really the culmination of a lot of work by this young lady across the way here, Jane, who's been here until 8 o'clock at night for the last week doing bus schedules and things like that. So we want to thank her as well. Colleen Forlizzi also rode the bus this morning, and so it was a good start. And in speaking to the principals today, the first day of in-person learning, attendance was very, very strong. Busing went well again, and the kids seemed thrilled to be back. Again, I think the stars of the show so far have been our teachers, who have, I think I said in one of my notes to them, the two words that I keep hearing are persistence. There are issues that are coming up with families, but we're dealing with them one at a time. You know, today I'm hearing a story from Dr. Harrison about Freya Leahy and another counselor going to a family's house to get them set up with the internet, and these are the kinds of things that we're doing behind the scenes to make things work for our families and for our kids. So I'll just leave it at that for superintendent's report, because I know later I'm going to give you sort of an opening of schools report, which won't have a whole lot more than that, but since it was the first day with kids back. But I don't know if you have any questions about the opening of school so far.
Go ahead, Mr.
I'll save it for that.
Okay, great.
I didn't have a student go into school. I'm cohort B. So
Yes.
it's like we're still waiting. I still feels the same to me. We're all still home.
Oh, yeah.
So next week, she'll be ready. Moving on to audience, there's nothing under audience, so we'll go into reports, financial reports for the school department, July and August, the high school student activities, July and August, middle school student activities, July and August, and the daycare, July and August.
8 motions to accept.
Do I have 8 seconds?
8 seconds.
All those in favor? Aye. And nothing under old business. We'll go to new business for the 2020-2021 opening of school report. Back to you, Dr. Cron.
Thank you. So we just finished up 2 weeks of remote, which went very well. Again, we deployed nearly 2,400 Chromebooks, which we're really, really proud of, getting all that technology out there. In addition to starting the year remotely, we had our first day of in-person today, as I just mentioned. We've also begun our work in the area of social justice, inclusion, and equity. We had our first meeting last week. I had the senior leadership team plus the assistant principals at the middle school and the high school, and Fred Damon, who's the dean of discipline at the high school, involved in that meeting as well. We brainstormed some of our I like to set up guiding principles, like why are we doing this work and what's going to guide our work, and so we spent some time doing that, and we established a few goals. We know we want to review our curriculum. We want to take a look at our hiring practices and policies throughout the district. But we also want to define words that are used every day to talk about race and social justice, and come up with vocabulary that we're all comfortable with. We're also, one thing that came out of the meeting was a real commitment to working to understand better the cultures of the students who we are working with. We want to understand better who they are, where they're from, what their history is, so that we can better support them. And I think that was a huge commitment that came out of the first meeting, learning about what social justice and equity looks like through the eyes of our students. So it was a very good first meeting. We're going to have a second meeting this coming month, and then our hope is to move this into the building and have this work done on the building level and get families and students involved in helping us to answer some of these difficult questions. We did, as a team, read a book called So You Want to Talk About Race, and it's a very challenging book. It really puts out a lot of very challenging ideas, one of which is this idea of privilege. And what does it mean to be a privileged, part of society versus someone who perhaps is less privileged, and what does that look like? And it's something that we need to look at as educators, because as I said to this team when we began this meeting, I think of school districts, schools are sort of a microcosm of society. And as educators, we try to do things to inspire our kids so that they will graduate, go off to college, and recreate society and make it even better, right? And that's a huge responsibility. And yet none of us who are sitting around that virtual table have expertise in this area. And we're all also primarily white. And so when we're looking around at each other, they're difficult conversations, and it's hard work. But I think that every teacher needs to do it, because you have the future in your hands, and it's important that we're thinking about it, and we're trying to create, in my opinion, a society that's even better than we are today, because I think we can do things better. We can always do things better. The other aspect of opening of school that I'd want to mention is special education. There's aspects of special education with regard to how we're educating now with COVID that I'm not happy with, that I wish we could do more. Having only half the kids in the building means that our special education students in many cases are receiving in-school education for a week and then remote for a week. And for some of our kids with disabilities that are severe, that remote week is very, very difficult. So I'm very anxious to get through the first few weeks of our hybrid and then take a look at our resources and see, is there any way we can do more for those kids who have IEPs, for our EL kids who are level 1? Is there more that we can do? Could we do more during the remote week? Could we bring them in 1 or 2 days during the remote week to do extra help with a teacher at a certain time? So I'm hoping that after we get things going with hybrid and we get an idea of how things are going in our capacity, I'm hoping to be able to shift resources to better support our special education kids and our English language learner kids. Our sub-separate classes are coming every day. So they are getting, essentially what they were getting before COVID. But it's our kids who don't quite meet that level that I'm really concerned about. And but other than that, I think our special educators are pumped and psyched and excited to get the kids back in the classroom, which is the way I think they prefer to work with the kids rather than online. Also had a meeting with custodians last week with Jane, and to remind them and to talk to them about what their work and to remind them of how important they are to us. They're doing a whole lot of things that they never did before. There's a whole lot of cleaning protocols that are going on today that we didn't do before. Bathrooms cleaned out on a very regular basis, wiping down high-touch areas, and then really cleaning buildings every night. Probably the way we used to do on the weekend. Now we're doing it on a nightly basis. So a lot of work for those folks, and a really good group of people, good team. But again, I think they're under a lot of pressure. But we had a good meeting with them, and I think they're ready to go. So overall, opening of school, today felt like the opening because last week just felt like it was a continuation of remote. So it feels like we just got going today. I spent most of it, I feel like, on a school bus.
You did.
But it was great. It was great. The kids are just so cute, and the little kindergartners with their, one little kid, he got on, he had a paper bag in this hand and a book bag in this hand, and both weighed more than him, and I don't know how he got up the stairs and onto the bus. But by the end of the day, they had their little I'm a new kindergartner hats on, and they were all smiling and happy, so I think that was a success. So I will not babble on, I will stop there. But if you have questions about opening, then maybe I could speak in that direction for you.
Anyone have questions? No?
Any challenges, though, thus far with mask wearing? Has students been pretty receptive to it and cooperative with it so far, to your
In
understanding?
fact, when I sat down with Dr. Harrison an hour or so ago, the first thing he mentioned was the kids.
Yeah.
He said the kids were awesome.
Awesome.
Great. And I haven't heard anything to the contrary.
Great.
I mean, we did have a few parents who reached out over the summer who have some severe issues, and of course, we're working with them. But so far, so good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any conscientious objectors or conscientious objectors?
No, we haven't had any of those yet.
Excellent.
But I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I figured we'd have them today, but no, the kids have been awesome.
And the busing, you said, went pretty well with the
I think
monitors?
the
and
busing went
spacing?
well
Yeah.
overall.
Yes, if anyone is interested in being a bus monitor, please contact the superintendent's office. We are still looking for bus monitors, so we can get Dr. Cron and Ms. Filizzi off the,
I was gonna say,
off the bus at some point, although they're enjoying it. Went extremely well. Went extremely well. We have, it's transportation twice, because we have transportation for cohort A and transportation for cohort B, so it's double of everything from last year, and, knock on wood, it's going very well. We have a lot of changes to make, but they'll get through it. Only one child came without a mask and put it right on when we handed it to them.
Yeah. So we give them some hand sanitizer before they get on, and then today we assigned them their seats on the bus, so they'll have the same seat every time. That was interesting. We had a weird chart, like, that didn't fit, so I didn't want to mess up the paperwork for Jane. But we have to place the kids in a certain way. So it's very different. It's very different, but even the little ones who I figured would be scared, they were good. I only saw one crier all day.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't me. It was me.
Yeah, no, quick ones. Lunch and food service, how did that go?
As far as I know, it went well. I didn't hear any bad news.
It was
but I didn't-
turkey and cheese. Everyone was happy.
It's a different routine than what everyone's used to.
Yes, and it's unique in each building. It's a little bit, every building, it's similar, but it has its own characteristics. We were surprised at the middle and high school, we do have some supplies left to buy. That'll make it go a little bit quicker, and a little bit easier, so disposable knives, forks, disposable things, that we need to get that just, Ms. Bond felt would be more efficient if we did so. So we're going to do it. Other than that, there was not a complaint. We were very nervous about the first day. How do we get 2 breakfasts, because we're doing breakfast and lunch, et cetera. It went exceptionally smoothly at all 5 locations.
Great. Lastly, kind of an open-ended one.
Sure.
Over the last several months, we've all watched you guys plan about everything that's possible to plan. You've seemingly turned over every rock there is to turn over. But I'm wondering, I know it is only day one, but was there anything that happened today that you kind of thought, oh, geez, we didn't think of that, or we could do that better?
I mean, I don't like to say no to that question, because I always think there are things we can do better, but quite honestly, I didn't get off the bus until almost 4 o'clock, and I haven't spent a lot of time unpacking the day yet.
Because I just imagine no matter how well
Yeah,
or
but
efficiently
no,
you do that work, there'll be things that
Nothing
sort of you can anticipate.
nothing jumped up and bit us.
Good.
Correct.
Yeah, nothing jumped up and bit us.
Great.
And again, you get enough smart people in a room and with different experiences, and you tip over most of the rocks.
Sure.
So we've been good, but I do think our parents have been very patient and very kind. And I
Very.
think that that's going to wear thin when things get rough, and I think that we'll start hearing about the problems a little bit more. I think, not to overgeneralize, but Rockland is a very kind community, and I think sometimes people don't speak up if something's wrong, and they have to get really angry before they'll speak up, and we don't want that. I don't ever want people to feel like if they call with a concern or a complaint or a question, that upsets us, it makes us better, so. But in answer to your excellent question, no, nothing really surprised. How about you, Jane?
I would have liked to
Anything-
have had more bus monitors. But, and I was very concerned about breakfast and lunches, and they both went extremely well.
Great.
Mask breaks I was worried about, and that seemed to go well.
What was the attendance?
Attendance was very good, at least at the high school. I haven't checked the attendance at the other buildings yet, but it's been excellent with remote. The attendance has been great. I'm talking 94, 95%, right up with regular, pre-COVID numbers. So we're having some challenges. Well, no, now I can answer that in a different way. We are having a huge dilemma with attendance. Attendance for the kids who are fully remote versus the hybrid when they're in their off weeks. And we have a single system that collects all attendance data, and the state is connected to it. But teachers keep a grade book, and essentially they need a separate grade book for their remote week and their in-person week. So we're having sort of a problem there that we're going to try to talk with Aspen tomorrow and see. We may have to get some code written or something to handle that, but we have some algorithm situations that are going on that are going to be a challenge for us,
Yeah.
keeping attendance.
Aspen has a lot of different varieties of things to
Yeah.
handle that stuff.
Yeah, that's the
I've used
first call
Aspen for
tomorrow. We're
years.
going to work with them tomorrow.
Yeah.
We
Take a
can't
look
be
at
the
it.
only district that's having.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. But taking attendance is hard, and so the teachers at the high school, I know, were struggling
Really?
because the kids may be in period A taking English, but then in their remote week, it may be a different block. And then the way it's currently being done, and I can't explain it very well, but one is overriding the other, and it has to do with too many classes online. So we'll get it ironed out, but that was a surprise to us today.
Yeah.
That was something we didn't anticipate.
That's pretty, like I said, it's flexible. I've been using it for years. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to make changes to it and work on it.
Yeah, and if they don't have something,
Yeah.
they'll write it
They'll
for
rebuild
you.
it for you.
Yeah, they'll charge you.
Oh, yeah, but.
But they'll write it for you.
Yeah.
And then they're kind enough to share that with everybody,
Right.
which is nice. They
Yeah.
have sort of an open source approach
Right,
to it.
yeah.
But that was one surprise that we'll get to work on first thing in the morning. But,
I
yes.
guess that kind of made me think of, with Google Meet in the remote week, there were a couple drops here and there,
Yeah.
kids getting kicked out. Has that been addressed more as a Google issue with the number of people on, and maybe now that we're in the first hybrid week? God, my glasses are fogging up.
Yeah.
That maybe with less kids being online.
I think
we'll
we're
be able
hearing
to-
fewer issues. I think issues are getting resolved. We're addressing it with Google. We're addressing it on the hardware side. In some cases, some teacher laptops had yet to be replaced, and that was holding up the show a little bit. I think some of it is just in the home and where the kids were set up to do their work, as far as how far from the router they are and things like that. So, and again, thank you to families who are stepping up and setting up schools in their homes and every other thing, because I know that that's going on and that's hard, very challenging. I'm going through it myself, you know. So, anyway.
Great.
Anyone else? Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Dr.
all right,
Funk.
thank you.
Preliminary enrollment numbers for Memorial Park, Eston, obviously all 5 schools, Jefferson, the middle school, and the high school.
We broke this out a little bit for you this year, so you could see the number by school of remote by grade. Our enrollment is strong. The middle school is 771. That's more students than we've had in the middle school than I can remember. I don't think we've ever had that many. So enrollment is good. And school choice is at 63 this year.
I think the classes get bigger and bigger from the 6th grade on now.
Yeah.
I think the classes early, probably the ones that are in the high school now, are smaller than those that were in the middle school
Right.
now. So I do think you're going to have more students.
It's just interesting to see how many kids are remote and at what grade levels.
Right, and there's not really a pattern, sort of, that you would think it's a predicted number, but it's really not.
No, and
No.
it's different at each school. too.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Middle school has their own.
So it'll be interesting to see, we'll do some common assessments later on. Hopefully, this won't continue forever. But we'll do some common assessments to see, are the remote kids performing as well as the hybrid kids? And that'll be interesting information
And
for
to
us
see
to
what they
take,
might need, or...
just to take a look at
Right.
and get some ideas.
Right. I think that's a great idea. From what I witnessed at home and from what I've heard from other moms, the remote weeks were like, you knocked it out of the park, night and day different compared to the spring, compared to now. I really felt, I even asked, a few of the kids that I had seen out and about or whatnot, do you think you're still learning? Do you think you're learning more? Do you think the teacher's teaching you or mom and dad's teaching you?
Right.
Tell me what you're thinking. And they all had nothing negative to say. So I think that goes back to the teachers and the families at home, making sure that their, I'll call it a nest, is comfortable and they're happy where they are.
Yeah.
And I feel like as parents, we're hearing that they feel they can interject, raise their hand and speak up. I don't know if, like in the middle school, if that's always how they feel, but I think that they almost feel like they have that one-on-one attention with the parent, with the teacher, so.
What platform are you using, Zoom?
Yeah, well, no, we're
No,
using
Google
Google
Meet.
Meet
Okay.
Google Meet.
primarily.
Google Meet, okay.
We,
Zoom isn't, yeah.
We're still kicking around in the back of our minds the idea of switching over completely to Zoom, because
Yeah.
I think it's a little less glitchy.
Yeah, that's
But
probably.
right now, Google Meet, Google is really working hard to, and they're up in their game
Yeah.
on a weekly basis. They
That's
keep
right.
adding things, and as you know, we have our resident Google expert, Lisa Ryan, who is on the phone with the Google people who are writing code
Yeah.
based on things that Lisa's feeding them, so,
Yeah. They've been pretty good, yeah, their Google does well, yeah.
yeah.
I think it's easier for the student because it's all in one house, too. They
Yes.
know to go right into their Google Classroom, they
Right.
know where their meet times are, they know where they're clicking on, and things like that. It's not trying
Yes.
to go back and find the Zoom information, like
Yeah.
I know we do.
Right, right.
Yeah, Zoom,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think that keeping it Google might be easier for the
Yeah,
student.
definitely.
Yeah. That seems to be a platform of choice. It seems both of them work, the Zoom and stuff like that. Zoom, it's fine. I mean, it depends upon, once you start getting used to it,
Yeah.
the kids get used to it and
Right.
the teachers get used to it. How about the teachers using it? Do they have?
They've been doing great.
Okay.
The attendance at Lisa's PD sessions has been outstanding.
Okay.
It started over the summer when we offered a bunch of classes. Teachers signed up like crazy for those, and those who didn't are now jumping on real fast. But I've heard from veteran teachers who have said, I'm using more technology now than I've ever used, and it's necessity is the mother of invention, they say, right?
Right.
So they're getting it done,
Yeah.
and
No more snow days.
no more snow days. Yeah, they're a thing of the past.
As every happy mom, never.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
Right.
right. Snow days are magical.
Yeah, they are,
When you're a kid, they're magical, right?
Right.
There's not necessarily shoveling and things like that.
That's right.
We'll move on to the 2020,
It wasn't my
2021.
first.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that.
Wait, maybe it was just me. All right, we'll move on to the 2020, 2021 budget update.
All right.
Is that you? Okay.
All right, I
Ms.
handed out a
Hackett.
spreadsheet today for each of you. We have some very good news. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts released its assessments, charges and assessment data through the Division of Local Services, and ultimately what that translated to for us was the town is recommending that we receive an additional $125,000 over the $650,000 that they had told us we were going to get in August. What that does show and brings us to is it reduces our deficit, our projected deficit from $413,000 to $288,000. All right, which is very good news. We're going in the right direction. we need to do a gigantic reconciliation financially once we get 2 more payrolls under our belt. We've had tremendous turnover
Right.
at several levels. We've also brought on a lot of new personnel that are COVID-related, yet I need to caution everyone that the COVID money, as of now, is expiring in December, which means these bus monitors, our remote teachers,
CNA.
our CNAs, we could potentially be on the hook for financially from January through June. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm working very well with Town Hall. It's a tremendous puzzle. You know, today I felt like a gigantic puzzle came together, you know, and I need to turn the page onto the financial one. You know, and we need to just dot i's, cross t's, do some reconciliations between payroll, accounting, and myself, and get everything projected in. I think you received your first year-to-date budget report in the budget today, and it's showing purely negative because we have not inputted what our budget is. And the reason why we haven't inputted what our budget is because we know our budget's going to change in November when we have our town meeting. So you're really not supposed to put in more than town meeting's been appropriated from an auditing perspective into a munis accounting system. Okay, so it's all been via Excel, you know, up to this point. But I am going to speak to Town Hall to see if now that we know this 125 is coming, can we actually put in our budget? You know, so we have benchmarks with which to measure against, that you folks can see, you know, more easily than, you know, it's very cumbersome for you to follow right now. And I know you're interested in it. And then you also have your, the revolving accounts, the balances in the revolving accounts, those are up to date, but we will be utilizing them significantly
Right.
during the course of this year to offset things. So I'd just like to really thank Donna Capeless, Joan Walsh, and Donna Lamb for the tremendous amount of personnel work and financial work that's been done over the course of the last 6 weeks. It's been extremely hectic. It's a very busy time of year historically for school departments and school admin with personnel changes between July and September. But this year, as Dr. Cron has said multiple times, we've built 2 new schools. And with that has come tremendous staffing changes and coding changes. We worked hard to get our codings correct.
Right, I remember
You know,
getting
with
that
DESI,
organized,
and
right.
now we've had to restructure those coding systems to make sure we get it correct for COVID. And for the various type of grants that we can apply for and to get reimbursed for. So there's been a lot of new GL set up. Town Hall's been tremendously cooperative. And just Donna and Joan have worked very, very hard together. And I just want to also, I have to shout out the whole office. And Ira Cola has just been a rock for months. She's been in every day since March 13th. She's maybe taken 1 or 2 days off. She has tracked all of our COVID expenses on the expense side of the house to make sure that we're reimbursed. She works exceptionally well with the accounting department over at Town Hall. And Liz Norse has just been exposed to everything. She's knew what a time to come. I think she started in February, you know, welcome aboard. And she's just turned into a, you know, she fills in very willingly anywhere that she needs to.
And is always smiling. They're always
Exactly,
smiling.
and
No matter-
always smiling, so
You wouldn't know what
been-
they were going through in there.
It's been a tremendous effort. We're at a negative 288, and we're going to work really, really hard to get that down to 0, you know, and into the green.
Thank you.
And
Keep at it.
that's all I have.
That's good.
That was a lot.
It's a lot.
Thank you.
Good news.
Yep.
Good
Right.
news.
It is good news, and we should say, and I'm sorry, and I didn't, you know, thank you to Doug and Biz, and as Dr. Cron has said, you know, we believed them every step of the way when they said if additional money was going to become available, they were going to recommend that we get it. And they have twice.
Right, right. I
You know,
think that the team you have built-
without hesitation,
Right.
without prodding. And I genuinely feel their care for the school department.
Oh, good.
You know,
Wasn't always the atmosphere
No.
around here.
No.
And it feels very different from
Yeah.
some days years ago. And Doug has been great. I think Doug's been great for our town. Doug's, I know, been very supportive of the school department. Biz has been great, too. I feel like we're in a really good sort of town environment, town schools environment right now, and we really, times like this, we really need to cooperate, so I'm glad to hear that. It's great.
Yeah, it is.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hackett. Any questions or comments to that before I move on?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the EEC vouchers.
Okay, this is not as good of news. All right, well, the good news is, I just need to cheat sheet here, that we have enrolled approximately 95 students in remote daycare.
Okay.
All right, which is absolutely phenomenal. The terrible news is that the EEC has said that they will not pay or honor vouchers for any children who are voucher eligible. We had anticipated, it's 25%, we had anticipated voucher revenue when we opened this. We're going to be okay, and I'm fighting.
Really?
Yes. The claim by EEC is that since we are a public school, we have already received federal funds to support our daycare program. And that by running this under our daycare program, which we did, so we could abide by EEC guidelines, all right, they've now deemed us ineligible for vouchers. We have gotten them through the work of Marissa and Janet, Marissa Baldessari and Janet Tate. We have gotten them to the point where they are going to reimburse us for the voucher rates, the amount that we receive for before and after school care. All right?
Okay.
But not the full amount of the vouchers. So, we're working on it. I wanted to bring it to your attention, and we are absolutely not considering ending the program.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Did everybody hear that?
Was that clear with our mask on?
And that's it. And
All
I
right.
don't think I have to speak again.
Do you think the state is pushing back with the vouchers because of all the other COVID expenses and money and?
No, I mean, I watched it, I'm at the point of speaking to the commissioner at this point. They keep bumping me up. And she's left me her cell phone number, and her voicemail is full.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then you're not the only one that making.
No,
this call.
this is, it defies logic.
Well,
Yeah,
it defies
and-
what some public officials have said publicly.
Correct.
They're bragging that these funds are being used to support these programs when they're not. So
Correct.
I don't think the left hand is speaking to the right hand, but I think everyone is just buried
Yeah.
right now, so.
Right, and think of how busy the EEC is, and they're trying to certify all these pop-up spots. I mean, everyone is pedal to the metal, and so many systems are
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
Right.
EEC is one of them, just like we found unemployment to be,
Yep.
you know? And, you know, just trying to take it in stride, not panic, reassure the families, reassure the staff, reassure the management, keep plodding, and
We'll get there,
hope we get a little bit more money in,
right.
you know, just sort of one step at a time.
Things to do list, keep on.
That's right.
Yep.
Right.
How is that program going so far?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. They're thriving. They're busy, busy, busy. Janet and Marissa worked exceptionally hard, just like the principals that, just as part of, just like the senior leadership did. They worked exceptionally hard. And Delshon Flip was involved with them throughout in helping them establish their protocols. They're doing extremely, extremely well.
Great, great. They're
Is the
awesome,
nine-
too.
Is the 95 students, are they full? Or are they
Yes.
still, they are full?
Yeah, but they haven't denied anyone.
Right.
They sort of knew their demand, they know their clientele, because most of the families are the same that were in the before and after school program. So they know their audience, and they know their target. And the numbers have really come in pretty much precisely as projected.
Oh, good.
All right, great. Anyone else? Questions? Okay. Moving on to personnel information for August and September. I've never seen it 3 pages before.
I know. Yeah,
Like I said, they've been busy.
Appointments, resignations,
Yes,
leave
you are
of absence.
not kidding.
ton of work.
A ton of work. Do you have any comments, Dr. Cron,
Just
besides that it's been?
Thank you to all the employees who are leaving us, and welcome to those who are joining us. We're sorry to see some folks go, but we understand. A lot
Right.
of this is personal decisions, family decisions, and so we understand that. A lot of this is hiring. We need a lot of subs. We need a lot of additional faculty with the remote. So I'm not surprised that it's this long. I know that the amount of work that's gone through our office to support all of these is definitely notable. But thank you to those workers who have left us, and welcome to those who are new.
All right. I second that. Thank you. Any other comments? No? Okay. We'll move on to public service announcement. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you
Go ahead.
having any trouble finding people?
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
We're having trouble. We're
Which ones in particular? honey?
We're having trouble finding bus monitors.
Okay.
So if there's any parents out there who are interested in that, that's available. We're also going to be looking for Portuguese-speaking paraprofessionals.
Okay.
So I've actually planned to reach out to Father Hickey and see if I can connect with him and maybe
Yeah.
some of the other area. I just know that the Brazilian community is involved in many of our churches in the areas,
Yeah,
and
There's a big Brazilian.
why not reach out to them and get the word out that we have a need?
Yep.
So we are having trouble filling those, and of course, we're having trouble filling some of the paraprofessional positions.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, anybody out there? Call.
Call. Step right up for any of that. Anything else? Okay. Moving on to public service announcements. I'm just going to go down the row. It's easier for these guys where we're so spread out. So I'll start with you, Ms. Hennessy.
I think we say it every meeting, but thank you for all the hard work. Thank you to the parents. My kids started in cohort A today, and they were very excited. We talked about the cleaning of, sanitizing of their desks and of lunch, and I think they were just excited to meet their teachers in person. They were tired, their bags are heavy, but they hopefully will be happy on Friday. So just thank you, and I don't think I have anything else.
Okay. Mr. Miller?
I received the helping from home, yeah, and I have my,
You do.
my clip-on.
Yes, you do have
Yeah.
it back there. There you go.
Interesting, 3D printers, I've used my 3D printers myself and stuff like that. It's an interesting, it's interesting to use in the program, and then to see something. 'Cause usually you see somebody program something, you see it on a screen, or you see it on a report or something like that. But to watch the programming coming out and it actually build something.
And it growing to,
Yeah,
to be
and
something
you
in
put
the
the,
hand.
yeah, and when some of the things, I made little teddy bears for, fingerprint, like that. What I used to do is cut the plastic out of percent, and I used to put pants on the little
Oh,
snowman, yeah, and
Right.
stuff like that. And the kids used to love to do that. Very interesting. That's
Mr. Harry
really-
Holbrook.
Yeah, so that's very, I'm glad to see that we have stuff like that coming in, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's great.
yeah,
He's a smart kid.
yep.
Anything else?
That's it. Thank
That's
you.
it, Mr. Mills?
Yeah. Get to-
The one-year anniversary.
I'd just like to say, obviously, thank you to everybody, but also congratulations to the PAC. By the sounds of it, they had a very successful fundraiser selling the rustic marlin signs, so congratulations. That's all.
Mr. Biggins?
All right, while we're giving shout-outs, I want to give one to some people that I think have maybe been some of the real unsung heroes in Rockland since the pandemic started. When we all went down on lockdown, public meetings stopped, school meetings weren't happening, selectmen's meetings weren't happening, communications between town departments, communications with families weren't happening, and the only way anything was not completely and utterly paralyzed was because of community access information that WRPS provides. Lisa Breeden, Dave Gable Murphy, and Chris Pernica, and Seth Brzezinski are just pros. I don't think that we could have done, I don't know what we could have done organizing and moving our town forward during this crazy time without these guys. I mean, I know Chris Bernika's up doing Sunday masses at the church. He's doing, he's all over the place, everywhere. They always do a great job, but man, I don't know where we'd be without these folks at WRPS. So, great job, guys. Thank you.
Great.
I agree with that, thank you. Is that all you have?
That's it.
All right, I have nothing, because I was going to say the PAC, and I didn't have a student go to school. So I did think that it was comical to see the back-to-school Facebook posts of all the moms, right, after 6 months of them sort of doing it's the most wonderful time of the year. So shout out to the moms that had maybe an hour downtime today. And that's all I have. Is that anyone else? No? I'll accept.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Have a good night.